Hello, and welcome to Voodoo Doughnut. So, I understand that you're here for a tasting, is that correct? Great. So, I know that you're planning to have your wedding here, which is great, and as you know, we are prepared for that. It's a pretty common thing. I just wanted to clarify that though for our records. We do also have non-legal wedding ceremonies here. You're basically paying, to rent out the space. And those can be a lot of fun, and they can also be a really romantic way, to renew your vows if it's, say, your 5-year anniversary or 10 years. We actually had a couple come here to do their 50-year anniversary, so that was pretty exciting. But you're doing the real thing here. Alright, even better. So have you actually picked a package yet? Because we should be sure to make sure we know how many people there's gonna be. You haven't. Okay. So, I'll just go through our options real quick. There aren't too many of them. Really, you're gonna be deciding between a couple options, and if you don't necessarily have the 40 people of the larger one, that's fine, as long as it's gonna be close to that number, and so forth. So, our options are, you could do a legal wedding. Well, all of these are including the legal official ceremony, because you said that a second ago. So the first one is for up to 9 guests. So that can be a really nice thing if you just, you're one of those couples who almost didn't want to have a wedding, but you have a couple very close friends or family members that you want to have a special day with without it being too showy and so forth. Alright, so if you choose that option, you get, along with it, a staff-picked assortment of 12 donuts, a voodoo doll of a bride and groom, and a donut heart centerpiece, which comes with optional writing. So if you do want your names on that or anything special, we can do that, or just have it, plain. And this also comes, of course, with coffee for the 9 guests. So that's a nice, very cozy, small gathering. Just because you're renting out the space, which is not a huge space, but at any rate, so it prevents other guests, temporarily from enjoying our facilities. Of course, there's other store locations they can attend in those couple of hours. Alright, so the price for that one is $250. And of course, if your guests want to order other donuts for themselves, that's not included. Or if they want fancier coffee, like a latte, that's doable as well. So that's option number 1. Number 2 is for 24 people. It actually also costs $250, but we need to know, the distinction so that we can just plan things in advance. And that comes with 2 staff-picked dozens of donuts, so 24 donuts, and the same things as the other one, the centerpiece and the dolls, and of course the coffee for the 24 people. Alright, so our other option is the legal ceremony for 40 people. And that's going to be a little more. It's going to be $350. Of course, it's coffee and donuts for the 40 people. Also free parking in the area, which is very much appreciated by them, let me tell you. And that's actually the largest package we have in terms of number of guests, just because any more than that it gets a little bit unwieldy and you won't be fully enjoying the space. So those are the main options: 9 people, 24 people, and 40 people. We also have a package that we call the whole shebang, which includes the ceremony and also airfare to Portland, where our stores are located, the majority of them. It includes hotel accommodations and a personal tour of our baking area, with a little bit of history about how we got started, and of course there's tastings as part of the tour as well. I assume that you're not so interested in that because you're here right now, and do you live in the area? You'll be here anyway. Alright. Yeah, so do you have an idea of how many guests there are going to be? 24. Alright, great. I find that sort of, you know, the perfect happy medium. So, as you can see, I've laid out samples of all our donuts, which is quite a few. I suspect you'll be quite full just by having a little taste of all of them. If you don't want to do so, and I hope you didn't eat before this, but I understand either way, and you're welcome, of course, to take them home, or, you know, to try half of the sample now and take it home, you know, when you're making your final decisions. I'll note down what you say today, and you'll have about 24 hours to change your mind. So if there's someone special to you who will be present, who's not here now, and you want to take it home and give them a bite of it, that's fine. We recommend you don't keep the sample over 12 hours, for the same reason that we don't ship our donuts, just because, you know, donuts they're baked fresh and delicious here, and they're not a food that keeps particularly well. Alright, so what I'll do is I'll sort of go through the description of each donut, because it's hard to tell what's in them just from what they look like, although they all look delicious. And then you can try them afterward, or as I'm saying them. Of course, you'll see that the card with the actual name of it is there, and you can always look up on our website what the ingredients are, but I'll say them for now. And at the end, you can let me know if you want to pick out specific ones for our staff to include, or leave it all up to us, or what. Sound good? Alright, perfect. So let's begin. Alright, so you'll see the number of samples that are laid out here. There's quite a few. I did note down ahead of time that you are not planning for a vegan only selection. Is that true? Alright, perfect. So of course we'll note for you at the time, or ahead of time, so your guests can plan what they might like, which donuts are vegan, and I'm sure there'll be at least a few included. So those of your guests that do have those dietary restrictions will certainly have options. Alright, so let's begin. This first one, as you can see from its appearance, is our Voodoo Doughnut. This is a raised yeast donut, which many of them are, filled with raspberry jelly and topped with chocolate frosting and a little pretzel steak. So as you can see, it's got this little kind of spooky face, but you'll note that each of them are different. They have the same general layout, but we like our our donut artists to get a little creative, so they won't all have, of course, this exact face. And that's just a product of our donuts being handcrafted lovingly instead of identically in a factory. Alright, so that one is quite a fan favorite, and of course matches the name of our establishment. This next one, yes, you know, bacon is quite trendy right now, and we are on board with that. This one is the Bacon Maple Bar Donut. It is a raised yeast donut with maple frosting and then bacon on top of that. This is a personal favorite of mine because I love everything with maple on it or in it. This next one is called a Portland Cream Donut. It is a raised yeast donut filled with Bavarian cream and topped with chocolate and these two little frosting eyeballs, which we like to say represents the vision of our great city. I'm sorry if there's a little bit of noise outside. This is a sort of a metro area. Alright, so give you a second to try a couple of those and help yourself to some coffee and some water. I know you gotta kind of cleanse your palate here. Alright, so this next one is called the Captain My Captain Donut. It is a donut with frosting and Captain Crunch cereal. So this one has vanilla frosting, and I believe we can switch it out if you prefer something else. We'll kind of go through all these three cereal ones at once. The next one is called the Loop Donut, and it's got Fruit Loop cereal on frosting on the donut, so quite colorful, quite sugary, but of course that's true of all of them, and quite crunchy and delicious. So finally we've got what we call our triple chocolate penetration donut, which is a chocolate donut with chocolate frosting and then chocolate cereal on top of that. So yeah, I'm a big fan of all chocolate things as well. Alright, so give you a minute to try our cereal donuts, and yeah, feel free to tuck some of those away. I see that you got a little takeaway box, so less pressure to do this all at once. Alright, so this lovely purple one here is called the Grape Ape Donut. It is again a raised yeast donut with vanilla frosting and grape dust and lavender sprinkles. Alright, this one with the pentagram symbol here is called the Diablos Rex Donut. It is a chocolate cake donut with chocolate frosting, red sprinkles, this vanilla frosting pentagram, and chocolate chips in the middle. So, pretty fancy one there. And then the last one in this little row here is the Mango Tango Donut. That is a raised yeast donut filled with mango jelly, which I had never had previously, but I highly recommend. And topped with vanilla frosting and tang. And I know that sounds a little bit odd at first, but it makes an excellent combination. Kind of like an orange creamsicle, if you've ever had that. So this next one here is called the Gay Bar Donut. I know you'll have to kind of roll your eyes at some of our puns here. As you can see, it's a bar-shaped donut rather than a traditional round one. And it's got this vanilla frosting and then these Fruit Loops cereals lined up in the colors of the rainbow. So whether or not you're showing your own pride or just being supportive, or if you just like rainbows, or if you like cream filling and frosting and cereal, I highly recommend this one. So this next one is called the Dirt Donut. Yeah, you ever have that when you were a kid, where you mixed pudding and Oreo bits? Well, this one hasn't got pudding, but it's got vanilla frosting and Oreos on top. Alright. So, again, a little bit silly with these next couple of names. But I can tell you're into that kind of thing if you're doing your wedding here. So this one's called the Maple Blazer Blunt Donut. So theoretically it's in the shape of a blunt, although if you are, the names won't necessarily be on them, so if your grandparents want to think it's like a churro, it kind of looks like that too, or a cigar donut. So it's a donut rolled into a blunt shape and dusted with cinnamon sugar. And then the end here is dipped in maple frosting and red sprinkle embers. So it looks like it's lit up, arguably. And the price, so, gonna have a sip of water here. Okay, so this next one is called the Marshall Mathers Donut. It's a plain cake donut with vanilla frosting, and here's the groaning pun part. It's got mini M&Ms on it. So that's Marshall Mathers. We actually do a special where we sell that with the blunt donut and one more and call it the Rapper's Special or something like that. So this next one is called the Lemon Chiffon Cruller Donut. It's a French cruller with vanilla frosting, lemon dust, and 3 little marshmallows right in the middle here. Next we have a McMinnville cream donut. It is a raised yeast shell filled with Bavarian cream and topped with maple frosting, and then a little vanilla frosting to draw on these little eyes and mustache that you see here. Yeah, kind of reminds me of the little Monopoly dude too. Alright. So this next one is the Memphis Mafia Donut. This one is quite dense. It's actually fried dough with banana chunks and cinnamon, and that's all covered in a glaze with chocolate frosting, peanut butter, actual peanuts, and chocolate chips on top of all that. So I actually find I can eat about a quarter of this one and call it a day. You know, I don't even want to think about how many calories are in it, but of course you're not going to be thinking about that on your wedding, and you're quite slim and this is a special occasion. So, alright, I suspect you're not going to want this next one at your, if you got relatives there, but maybe you do. And this one kind of made us famous, because people like jokes like this. So this one's called the cock and balls donut. I know you can see that it's shaped like that, well, vaguely. It looks like exactly what you think. And it's filled with Bavarian cream and topped with chocolate frosting. So we find that this one's a less popular option at the actual wedding, but quite popular for bachelorette parties. So maybe if you're interested in it for that, that's also an option. This next one is called the Old Dirty Bastard Donut. It is a raised yeast donut with chocolate frosting, Oreos, and peanut butter. So, kind of like the dirt donut, but with even more. Alright. Actually, it kind of tastes like a Reese's, even though it's got Oreos too. The next one, another one with tang. This one's called Tang Fastic. It's a plain cake donut with vanilla frosting, tang, and 3 marshmallows, again nestled up in the middle there. The next one is called the Dirty Snowballs Donut. It's a chocolate cake donut with marshmallow topping, dipped in coconut and with a dollop of peanut butter in the middle. The next one here is called the Neapolitan Donut. It's a chocolate cake donut with vanilla frosting, strawberry dust, and 3 marshmallows. Alright. Next we have the Arnold Palmer Donut. This one is a plain cake donut with vanilla frosting and a little bit of lemonade and iced tea dust on top. So it's not overpowering, but it gives us this really nice sort of, not aftertaste, but like an overtaste, I'll say. Yeah. And it's kind of tangy as well. Alright, so I see that you are not really tasting them anymore, which is totally understandable. Probably eaten a full donut's worth by now. So if you like, I'll just continue going through the descriptions, and then of course you can try them all at home, and if there's any you'd want to take home, maybe you can leave them, but otherwise we'll pack them up, and you can again call us with your final decision. Sound good? Alright, but believe it or not, there's a bunch of them left. Well, you can see them lined up here, but we'll go through them sort of quickly, and you'll at least see what they look like with the description and so forth. Yeah, it's kind of nice to see the inside of them, for a change, because on our website you can see the outside, which already looks pretty great, but you know. So this next one is called the Voodoo Bubble Doughnut. It is a raised yeast donut with vanilla frosting, bubblegum dust, which is fine to eat, it's just flavored like bubblegum. And yes, it does have a single piece of bubblegum right in the middle. It's wrapped up and kind of put there as a decoration, so you're not gonna accidentally swallow it or anything. This next one is called the Miami Vice Berry Donut. It's got vanilla frosting, blue raspberry powder, and pink sprinkles. And then next to it we've got the buttermilk bar donut, which is simple but great. It is buttermilk dough and just a regular glaze over that. Yeah, you can try that one. It's kind of like if you've had buttermilk pancakes, just a sort of a even richer flavor. Alright, getting to some sort of semi-traditional ones here. This is a sprinkle donut. It's a plain cake donut with vanilla frosting and a bunch of colored sprinkles. Yeah. I'm actually originally from the Northeast, so I had to stop saying Jimmy's when I worked here. Alright, so the next one is a double chocolate donut. It's a chocolate cake donut with chocolate frosting. And here we have an apple fritter donut, which is fried dough with apple chunks and cinnamon covered in glaze. This is also one of my personal favorites. Like if you took a slice of apple pie and somehow made it even less healthy and even better tasting. This one is a peanut donut. It is a plain cake donut with chocolate frosting and cut up peanut bits on it. Yeah. And we'll definitely have these, separate, all of the peanut butter ones, just in case your guests have allergies, of course, that you're maybe not aware of. We are very careful about at least the areas that they're in. So, this one is actually called or referred to as the no-name donut. I'm actually not sure why. It's got chocolate frosting, Rice Krispies, and peanut butter. So you'll notice a lot of these share, a couple essential ingredients, the chocolate, the peanut butter, the vanilla, but then there'll be one ingredient that really defines it and brings out those flavors or a special texture. And this one, it's really the texture of the Rice Krispies that make it really special. Alright, so next we've got the chocolate coconut donut. This is a chocolate cake donut with chocolate frosting and flakes of coconut all over that. And one that I like even better is the toasted coconut donut. So this one's actually plain cake as opposed to chocolate with vanilla frosting and then toasted coconut over that. Next we have the Mexican hot chocolate donut. This one is a chocolate cake donut dusted in cinnamon sugar and cayenne pepper. Yeah, so it's not really too spicy. I don't know if you've had the hot chocolate, but the two flavors work together surprisingly well. They don't, cancel out or conflict or anything like that. So here we have the Ain't That a Peach donut, or fritter donut, excuse me. So this one is a peach fritter topped with cream cheese frosting with pink and orange sprinkles. The next one is a orangutan donut. This one is dipped in vanilla frosting, tang, and a side of orange sprinkles. Next we have a powdered sugar jelly-filled donut. That is a raised yeast shell filled with lemon jelly and dusted with powdered sugar. We also have what we call Kelly's Jelly Donuts. These are in partnership with Kelly's Jellies, which are sort of a special order. I'm not sure if we can do them for weddings actually, but we've got them out here, so you're welcome to try it. And we tend to do a different jelly each week, so I believe this one is raspberry. Speaking of which, the next one is called the Raspberry Romeo's Donut, which is filled, of course, with raspberry jelly as well. Alright, so the next one is the Blueberry Cake Donut. It's a blueberry cake donut, shockingly, with just a regular glaze over that. So no frosting, but of course sugary glaze, pretty similar. Maybe more your thing though. Some people find, the thickness of the frosting to be almost too much. So then we have the cinnamon sugar donut, another classic. This is a plain cake donut with cinnamon sugar on top, followed by the powdered sugar donut. Not much to explain there. That's another plain cake donut with powdered sugar. And finally, the chocolate cake donut, which is a plain cake donut with chocolate frosting. Alright, so we got one more row to go through. Start off with a couple of bars again. This one is the plain maple bar donut, just a bar shape with maple frosting. And then the chocolate bar donut, which is the one with chocolate frosting. And the classic glazed donut. Finally, we've got the old-fashioned donuts. We have a glazed one of those, which is a cake donut again, and a chocolate one of those, and a maple one of those. Yeah, so you'll see we've marked with little stars the ones that are vegan, and if you want, you can pick any number of those. And then we've also marked here the ones that are vegetarian, but not necessarily vegan. Alright, so I know it's quite a lot to take in. You're welcome to stay here as long as you'd like. Sip on your coffee, work up the appetite to try a few more, or of course, take them home if that's what you'd prefer. Yeah, and then we'll certainly talk more about, any sort of custom decorations you want. Some of that's your responsibility, but we do have a couple choices that we do revert back to. Of course, the store itself stays mostly how it is the rest of the time. And then we can also do custom wedding cakes, which is of course not really a cake, but a donut. The advantage of that being it's unique and a lot cheaper than some of your fancy tiered wedding cakes, but just as good. And we can set that up with our artists to do, you know, your likenesses. Of course, we give you those little voodoo dolls of the man and the woman or whatever your preferred genders are. But this one is not just that, but we can draw, you know, your faces or whatever you'd like on there. So there's a number of shapes, there's the people I just described, and I can give you a little a catalog of some past examples. Would you like that? Okay, great. Alright, so yeah, definitely we'll be in touch with you, but give me a call if you have any questions before that, or when you make your final decisions. Sound good? Alright, thank you so much for stopping by. Have an excellent afternoon.